Other things, however, influence reputations. In 1905, Chelsea, who played last night, by the way, a marvellous draw, paid £50 to sign this guy, William Fatty Foulke, as their last line of defence, as their goalkeeper. And for good reason. He was 1.93 metres tall and he weighed 127 kilograms. So he's a huge boy and very slow. However, in those days, if the goalkeeper was holding the ball, you could crash into him and barge him over the line, and that would be a goal. So there was a huge benefit in having a huge goalkeeper because it's harder to drive him back over the line. £50 was a huge amount of money. Probably the equivalent of £36 million now. So Chelsea, in a sense, by paying a lot of money for Fatty Foulke, potentially influenced his reputation. And in so doing, people probably perceived him as bigger than he actually was. Chelsea was smart back then, and even today I think they're smart. This is Fatty Foulke. Big boy, wasn't he? And you can, I trawled through the archives to find this, so you can tell it's not doctored. This is how Chelsea was smart, though. Chelsea stood two little boys on either side of him during games to make him seem even bigger. And one of them's in the picture. Isn't that great? There he is. So this is a famous story that Chelsea specifically tried to influence people's perceptions of his size, because to be big as a goalkeeper is generally regarded as actually psychologically influential as well. Because if you're big, people are, in a sense, afraid of you, that they can't get the ball past you. There's another little nice sideline to this. Fatty Foulke was so slow that whenever the ball was shot at the goal and it ran past the goal, the little ball boys used to run and get the ball for him. Thus we ended up with the term ball boys. That's where it came from. So we owe a lot to Fatty Foulke and Chelsea, I would say. But is it actually the case that you need to be big as a goalkeeper? Most people in this room, certainly most footballers, managers, want a goalkeeper to look big. And goalkeepers try to look big, don't they? They throw themselves around and they spread their arms and so on. And we were very interested in this. So there's an illusion known as the Muller-Lyer illusion. That's a Muller-Lyer illusion. Which line looks longer, the top one or the bottom one? Yeah, well, thank you very much. You're quite right, they're the same. But people who don't know the illusion usually would say the top one. And if you're actually doing work like this, you can bypass the people who know by actually manipulating the length of the line. So sometimes the lines are the same, sometimes they're not. So people who think they're smart and they know the illusion get caught out. This is the amputated Muller-Lyer illusion. Same effect. The left one usually is perceived as slightly longer than the right one, but it's not. So I'm a goalkeeper and I stand like that. I've just created an amputated Muller-Lyer illusion. If I stand like that, I've created the opposite effect. So the question we asked in the first study was, by standing like that, do we actually make ourselves get misperceived as taller than we are relative to standing like that? So it was a very simple study that we carried out. This is the first author, John van der Kamp. So he dressed himself up like that as a goalkeeper, and we photoshopped this so that he's exactly the same height in all four of these. In actual fact, if I go like that, I stretch my exoskeleton slightly and become slightly taller. So this is shopped so that he's exactly the same height. And then we simply presented pictures in a booklet, lots of pictures, all different sizes, but him taking up these postures. We presented that to people. We asked them to look at the booklet and simply to mark how tall he was in each picture, the exact height. They weren't allowed to line it up or anything like that. The booklets were separate. And they weren't allowed to use a ruler either. So it's a very simple study. This is what we found. People overestimated his height significantly when he stood like that. And they underestimated his height significantly when he stood like that and like that. So the illusion had an effect on people's perceptions of the goalkeeper when he took up these positions. And in actual fact, if you extrapolate, a 9 centimetre difference, which is dramatic. What's 9 centimetres? Is that 9 centimetres? So it's quite a lot. A big misperception, if you like. But the story doesn't end there. In study 2, we asked people to score goals against him when he was stood with these postures. And something very interesting happened. When he stood in a posture like that, people kicked further away from him. So being big caused people to kick further away from him. Guess what happened when he stood like that and made himself look smaller? People kicked closer to him. So you tell me, should a goalkeeper look big or should a goalkeeper look small? I'd say small. Easy to make a save if someone kicks the ball closer to me. So simple science. I have no idea what that tells you.